Obviously, it's important to make sure nothing gets caught by the wind and ends up strewn all around the road. My blasting outfit can handle just about any size project. These guys do really nice work and at a very reasonable cost. I think it was about $1,100 to blast and epoxy prime the cab, doors, hood, nose, and fenders, and it's well worth it if you ask me. I took a little ride to Long Island to pick up a 360 small block I bought on eBay for $400. The guy's brother-in-law had it in a duster and smashed the car up, and he never got around to putting it in another car. Once I got everything back from the blaster, it was time to deal with the rusty floor section of the cab. Probably the best thing to do would be just to cut the whole floor section out. Okay, so now I'm going to make a cardboard template of this section of floor that I've got to put in. The other thing here is I'm going to use this template to show where all the bends are. I'm going to begin and end. I use this old square as a kind of a fence for the saw to make sure that I'm going to get it fairly straight. So I made this panel a little wider so I can roll some beads into it. That'll make it a little more rigid. I got a little gap here. I ran into a few issues trying to put a late 70s vintage engine into a late 90s Dakota frame. Motor mounts are in a different location on the block. Plus, there's clearance issues with the oil pan. Now, this just means I'll have to move the whole thing further back into the firewall. In addition to all this, the Dakota drivetrain is a few inches off center to the right. I guess now would be as good a time as any to load the frame up and take it up to my friend Matt's shop to shorten it. Matt does all kinds of fabricating on one-off truck bodies. So the first order of business is to cut the factory welds where they box the frame together. The front section is different on a two-wheel drive than it is on a four-wheel drive. Next, I'll ask Matt to cut these rivets off to the cross members. He'll do a cleaner job than I would, I think. In theory, that's going to do it. Now I can separate the sections and measure up the amount of frame I have to remove. There you are. It needs to be 23 inches shorter to match the 57 cab and bed. It might take a little bit of coaxing to match up perfectly. Once I grind off enough area for welding, I'll be able to slide the whole thing back into position. Before I cut this apart, I measured about 6 different benchmark spots and checked it with a laser level. It'll probably wind up truer than the factory did it originally. With everything clamped down tight, we'll turn Matt loose with the welder.
Go across here and then down. Okay. And then I'll probably regroup and move this clamp or something.
This is the kind of thing where I wouldn't have wanted to trust my own welding skills. Well, there's the Streetrod project. And I haven't touched it in a while because I was busy building the dump truck. So this is the dump truck that I worked on for about a year. Old road tractor I bought down in New Jersey, and then I bought another old truck that had a good dump body on it and took the dump body off and sold the rest of the old truck that it came off of, and so on and so forth. I was kind of hoping to get back to work on it this week, but my little neon here needs a head gasket, so I guess I got to do that first. Then I can get back to the Streetrod project. So stay tuned.